part of awakening is accepting that we are different, that our path is different from the majority, and that our life is going to be different from what the typical person is doing. Awakening, true awakening is still reasonably rare. It's not what the mainstream population are doing. And so we can feel a bit like an outsider or an outcast or just feel different. We may have even felt this way as children. It's very common to have felt this way if we are destined for awakening, to feel like the outsider or the lone wolf. But once we start to really go through the awakening process, we start to see just how different we are from how the rest of humanity is, or at least we can perceive it that way. And so it is kind of a weird paradox to see that you are everyone, you are everything, but to also feel very different from the normal human path that people go on and what they prioritize. And so this can be painful, but we adapt to it, and it is just something that is being asked for us to accept as we go through the path. We can process it and feel it however we like, but we come to a complete acceptance that we are different. Our life is different from the norm, and that's okay. And we can even start to enjoy that. Now, this can play out in many ways. We can feel like we are very different from other family members, our family of origin, and we might start to feel like we pull away from them or they pull away from us. A lot of our karma is tied up with our family of origin, and so it is likely when we go through the awakening process that those relationships are going to change quite a lot. And this can be painful, certainly, but is also quite a necessary part of us breaking free of our karmic patterns and going into those automatic ways that we connect and talk to those family of origin members that put us back to sleep. And so as we start to grow up and start to wake up, we may start to pull away from them or start to feel different from them. And this may hurt, but we can see that this is what we're truly longing for. We're truly longing for autonomy. We're truly longing to be away from that karmic imprint, from that karmic impact that our other family members are holding. And so it starts to feel good over time, although it may start off as being painful. The same goes for friends, the job, everything that we had that brought us up to where awakening started was really created by our karma and the identity that we had operating there. And so as we go through the awakening process, a lot of that is going to change and drop away, and it may make us feel like we're very different to the people around us. Many people that I work with report that they don't know anyone else going through an awakening in their world, or maybe just on the outskirts. It's actually pretty common to be the only person you know that's going through a genuine awakening, and that can feel isolating at times. It can make you feel very different, but it seems to be a part to the awakening process where we feel like it is a very unique and solitary journey that we go on. Even if we have a lot of people around us, but we might feel like they really don't understand this path or what it is that we're going through. And if they're not going through an awakening, they're really not going to be able to. It is something that you have to experience for yourself. And it does sound even crazy to talk about it to someone that's in the dream, even though it's a very real experience, and it is actual sanity to wake up. But for someone in the dream, it's going to sound so difficult for them to hear, and perhaps even scary for them to hear, and they may think that you're having mental health issues, or they could interpret it in any number of ways and really not like the changes that they're seeing in you, even though you know they are really positive changes and that you're getting happier and feeling more peaceful and more authentic. Our family members, our romantic relationships, it's really hard for the people around us that don't understand awakening to try to interpret what is going on with us, because they really can't. They can't know. They can't understand themselves. And this leaves us feeling kind of isolated and different. And part of this helps with awakening. It helps us to access existential aloneness and acts as a portal for that, which I've talked about in other videos. I'll link to them in the description. So part of it is a useful portal for awakening to help to access oneness. But the other part is just an acceptance that we are different if we're on this path. We are not going through what normal humans go through, although it is something that we've always experienced for as long as we know as a species. There's always been a percentage of us that have gone through this path towards liberation, but it's always the minority. And it still seems to be that case, and that's okay. But it does feel hard at times. So we in the workplace may feel very different from our co-workers once we start going deeply into dropping identity. We may have trouble connecting with our friends socially. We may not even like doing the same things that we did before. All kinds of changes can happen. And although we may be starting to feel better internally as we go through this process, our humanity, our human part, can feel sad about the changes that are going on and really process them as a loss or as grief. Once the awakening is permanent, once it's abiding, then you are perceiving the world extremely differently from probably most of the people around you, but you have no resistance to that. You have complete acceptance that you've been on a very different path, but one that's been around for a very long time, and that it's okay that you perceive things differently, that everyone around you is still you. They're still God. You see the Buddha nature in everyone. Everyone's perfectly fine wherever they are on their journey, whatever it is that they're learning. Nobody needs to change. You see that perfection in everyone, and you see that they're all you, but you also do need to learn how to communicate with people that are in the trance, that are still believing they're a person. And so you get taught this through life over the years, bit by bit, teaching you how to remain true to yourself and not forget who you are and not fall back into the trance, but also not cause suffering for others, not talk about awakening to others when they're not ready to hear it and they might find it scary. And so we learn how to develop this skill over time and get better at it. And most of the time, we don't talk about awakening when we're awake, unless someone's directly asking us about it. We are living our life, is very ordinary. People on the outside probably wouldn't notice that there's anything different about us at all. So we're perceiving things very differently. Our experience is very different from what someone in the trance is experiencing. But from the outside, we just look like a normal person going about our life. And really, that's what we're doing. We're deeply into our humanity. We're going to work. We're raising children. We're doing all the things that we need to do. It's very simple in one way. But the way we're experiencing the world is very different to those that are in the trance.